Hello all. Okay, it's about halfway through October now. Time to really start working on those Christmas items. So here is a hat that I designed about 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And, well, no, yeah, a little over 4 years ago now. And it is my take on a Father Christmas style Santa hat. It is vintage inspired, but it's not vintage. So that's why it is marked non-vintage, but vintage inspired. So I wanted to be completely open and honest about that. So this is my take on a Father Christmas style Santa hat. So not your traditional like corporate Coca-Cola style hat, which I do have a video on one like that. This is more of the old school 1800s Victorian era Father Christmas hat where the point was very skinny and long, and it was really looked almost like a sleeping cap, but it's very cute. We do some cable work, and the brim alone, if you don't even want to make it into a Santa hat, the brim alone, just keep working on the crown, just some single crochets, and you've got a whole hat, because that brim goes from like there to there. It's huge. So it doesn't have to just be a Santa hat. This can be a hat for any old occasion, just a hat. Okay. All right, guys, enjoy the video, and the video will include the yarn, the colors, the size hooks you need, everything you need. Love you guys lots, and I hope that you make one. And I used these Father Christmas, so these like vintage colors, maroons and burgundies and creams and Arans. And okay, let's get right into it. I'm going to tell you about the materials you'll need, the colors, and the size hooks. We're going to be using 2 different sized hooks. And of course, you don't have to go with a fur palm, although I think it modernizes it. I do show later on in the tutorial how it looks with the traditional, don't judge mine, I never have ever been able to make decent yarn pom-poms, but how it looks essentially with the yarn pom-pom. So let's get right into this. Okay, let's start with the brim. Okay, this is the brim. I have already completed the brim. So this hat, we aren't really going to be focused on rows as far as the brim goes. We're more or less going to be focused on inches. This one is measuring out to 20.5 inches. So this is going to be for an average woman's size. If you need to make this for a man, just keep adding rows until it fits him comfortably. Okay, to start the hat, we will be using a G 4mm hook. And the body of the hat will be a J 6mm hook. So this part of the hat here, we are using a 4mm hook so we can get a nice, stiff, firm, tight stitch. We are going to be using Red Heart Super Saver. You will need less than 1 skein. Let me show you what I have left. I have 2 of them. Here is what I have left from making the brim. I'm not quite done with the brim. We're going to do the bobble stitches afterward, but as you can see, you need maybe half of a skein to make the brim. The color I'm using is Aran, so that I could have that Father Christmas, colorway. The body of the hat is going to be also Red Heart Super Saver, and this is actually softer than this, but whenever I put this on my forehead, that when I already have made, it wasn't very scratchy at all. The color for this is Claret, and it is showing up brighter on camera. In real life, this is a deep, rich, dark burgundy or maroon, actually more closer to maroon. It's very deep, rich red. So unfortunately, my camera is bringing out the oranges and the brightness of it, but in real life, this is a very dark, deep, wooded type burgundy or maroon. So this is what we will use for the body. All right, so grab your Red Heart Super Saver in color Aran. If you are following my color scheme, the Father Christmas, antique color scheme. Okay, now using your 4mm hook, you will chain 20. Okay, that is 20. In the second back bump from the hook, you will work a half double crochet, and you will work a half double crochet in every stitch across. And in row 2, we're going to repeat row 1. So just chain 1, work a half double crochet in the first stitch and in every stitch across. A total of 19 half double crochets. Okay, 2 rows of half double crochet completed. Now we are starting on round 3. We're going to chain 1 and work a half double crochet in the first stitch. Every row will start with a half double crochet and end with a half double crochet. Now, yarn over twice. We're going to work in the next stitch over. As you can see, our next stitch, we're going to work around the post of the first row half double crochet, and we're going to work a treble crochet. We're going to work another treble crochet in the next stitch over down here on row 1. There we go. Now you can tilt your work towards you a little bit and see the stitches at the top here that we did not work into. We're going to skip those 2 stitches. In the third stitch over, we're going to work a half double crochet. This is going to be skipping the 2 stitches and putting a half double crochet in the third. That's going to be repeated in every other row throughout the entire pattern for the brim. Now we're going to put a front post treble crochet around the next 2 stitches from the first row again. And once again, tilt it towards you, skip the 2 stitches that we did not work into because we did the front post, and in the third one, work a half double crochet. This is the repeat all the way to the end. Oops, sorry. When you get to the end, you should end with a half double crochet in the last stitch, and the last stitch is always tilted. This is not accurately your last stitch here. Your last stitch is always tilted back, so you'll kind of turn it up a little bit to catch that last stitch. But repeat this, working 2 front post treble crochets and then working a half double crochet in the next stitch over all the way to the end, where you should end with a half double crochet in your last stitch. Coming up to my last stitch, this is how your work should be looking, by the way. Coming up to my last stitch, which, like I said, is always tilted backwards practically. Work a half double crochet. Now you will chain 1, turn, and every even row, because now we are working on row 4, every even row, or to put it even more simply, every time the wrong side is facing you, we are simply working a solid row of half double crochet in every single available stitch that you see. You should have 19 half double crochets at the end of every even row, or at the end of every row where the wrong side is facing you. So we chain 1, work a half double crochet in the very first stitch and in every single stitch across. I'll meet you when we get to the end of this row. Okay, I've completed my last stitch. I have 19 half double crochet. Now we will begin row 5, which is an odd row. So our odd rows are always going to be cable rows. You're going to chain 1, turn, and work a half double crochet in the first stitch. Now we will be working with double treble front posts. So wrap your yarn around your hook 3 times, and skipping over this whole section here, we will begin working in the 2 front post trebles over, starting with the closest one to you. Work a front post, double treble, yarn over 3 times again, and work a front post double treble in the next stitch over, or the next front post over. Now flip your work towards you, and skipping the first 2 stitches right after this half double crochet, you're going to skip these 2 stitches and work a half double crochet sort of behind your work a little bit, but this is going to keep your cables directionally like correct. Like it's going to set the direction for your cables. That's why we work kind of behind a little bit. So we're going to skip, skip, work a half double crochet in here. Just like that. Now that forces your cables all the way over this way. Wrap your yarn around your hook 3 times, and jumping backwards into the furthest front post, work a double treble, and then work another double treble in the next one over. Just like this. Wrap your yarn around your hook 3 times again, and come back to pick up this next front post stitch over. And this is what we are going to refer to as the normal or over cables, because the next cable round up we will be working what we're calling under cables. So tilt your work towards you and skip the next 2 stitches here, and in the third one work your half double crochet, and that's going to pull these cables this way. So you see our first half double crochet pushed our cables this way. This one's going to pull them that way. That way everything is directionally secure. And we do it all over again. Wrap 3 times, skipping these 2 cables here, or these 2 front posts here, and start your double trebles in these 2 front posts here, starting with the closest one to you. And every time we work 2 posts, we always flip toward us, skip the first 2 stitches, and work our half double crochet in the third. Never move on to the next set of cables without doing this first. Now we will wrap around 3 times again and come back to these front posts that we skipped over. Nope, I feel like that was just a treble. There we go. Okay, and then because we just worked 2 stitches, I know that I need to come back here and skip 2 stitches. Don't carry on to the next set of front posts without working your half double crochet first, keeping everything in line with itself. Okay, do it one more time, skipping over these 2, come to the last 2, and start working with the closest one to you. Now I'm going to have to skip 2, and in the third work my half double crochet. Wrap 3 times and pick up these 2 posts that we skipped over, front posts. There we go. And naturally, we're going to skip 2, and the third one is our last stitch. Work a half double crochet in that last stitch. And there you go. Now we are coming up on an even row, row 6. So you're just going to chain 1, turn your work, and starting with the very first stitch, work 19 half double crochet. I'll meet you when we get to the end. Okay, I've completed 19 half double crochet. Let's start row 7. These rows go by very, very quick. Very, very quick. Okay, we're going to chain 1 as I've already done, turn, and we always start with a half double crochet and always end with a half double crochet. Now we're going to do our under cables. So for this, we're going to start off with a treble crochet in these first 2 posts, starting with the post closest to you. Just like this. And of course, every time we work 2 posts, we tilt it toward us, skip the next 2 stitches, and work our half double crochet in the third. Now we're going to work our double trebles, reaching over to these 2 posts that are underneath these posts here. So we're going to grab these 2 cable stitches here, working with the one closest to us, work a double treble. You see that? Okay. The next one over, that is coming out from underneath this one, pick up that cable and work a double treble. Now here's where things get a little tricky, but it's not that hard. First things first, because we just worked 2 cable stitches, we're going to tilt, skip 2, and work a half double crochet in the third. There we go. Now wrap around 3 times and reach behind these 2 cable stitches here, just like this. Come back to this first one right here, or this furthest away one right here, and scoop it up like that with your hook. I'll show you that again. Come behind both of these cable stitches here, reach back and grab the furthest away cable and scoop it up and out with your hook. Now go ahead and work your double treble around this post. There we go. Wrap around 3 times again, and we're going to repeat that again with the next cable stitch over. So come behind these 2 stitches, scoop up the next post, and yank it up. Now go ahead and wrap around and start completing your double treble. There we go. And you see what that creates. And of course, we just worked 2 cable stitches, so now we're going to tilt toward us, skip the next 2 stitches, and work a half double crochet in the third. And we're going to do that again. Wrap 3 times, pick up these 2 stitches that are coming up underneath these 2. We're going to pick up these 2 stitches here, starting with the closest one to us, work a double treble. There we go. And we're going to skip 2 stitches and work a half double crochet in the third. Wrap around 3 times. Come behind these 2 cable stitches, reach back to the stitch furthest away, to the post furthest away, and scoop it up. There we go. And complete our double treble. Repeat that, going behind the both of the cable stitches. Scoop up that next one over, just like that. Complete our double treble. There we go. Nice. And then we skip the next 2 stitches and work a half double crochet in the third. And now we just work 2 regular treble crochet stitches in the next 2 cable stitches that we have left. So only wrap around twice for the treble stitches. Oh, you already know that though. And we're going to skip 2, which naturally leaves us with our last stitch as the third for our half double crochet to complete this row. And there you go. That is what we have. Now we will start row 8, even row, chain 1, and work 19 half double crochet. Now starting row 9, which is an odd row, which means it's our next cable row. This is what I'm calling the normal cables or the over cables, which is just a repeat of row 5. So not naturally, but as usual, we start off with a half double crochet. Then we immediately go into our double trebles. We skip all of this right here and reach over to these first 2 cables, starting with the one closest to us, to the one closest to our hook, I should say. There we go. Wrap around 3 times, get the next cable stitch over. Now you will flip and skip 2 stitches and work a half double crochet in the third. Wrap around 3 times, come back this way and grab these 2 cable stitches starting with the one furthest away. Working your double trebles. Get the next one over. Tilt towards you, skip the next 2 stitches, and work a half double crochet in the third. Repeat this all the way across. Now we're going to wrap 3 times and reach back into these posts here. That's underneath these 2. So these 2 posts right here, starting with the one that's furthest away, just like this. There we go. Wrap 3 times and pick up the one right next to it. And work your double treble. And of course, we tilt it toward us, skip our next 2 stitches and half double crochet in the third. There we go. Wrap 3 times and do it one more time, starting with the post closest to your hook. Wrap around 3 times, pick up the one next to it. Skip 2 stitches, work a half double crochet in the third. Wrap around 3 times, and once more we're going to pick up these 2 posts right here that's underneath these, just like this. There you go. And pick up the one next to it. And work a half double crochet in your last stitch. There we go. That is how everything should be looking at this point. Now we're going to work round 10, which is an even row, so it's a half double crochet row. I'll meet you when we get to the end of row 10. With row 10, now we are going to start on row 11, an odd row. Here's where we're going to do our next round of underneath cables or under cables. You're going to start with a half double crochet and then work a treble crochet in the first 2 cables that you have closest to you. And this is basically a repeat of row 7. Now remember, those first 2 cables of the under rows are always treble crochet only. These are going to be treble crochet, these are going to be treble crochet. Now we skip the next 2 stitches and work a half double in the third. Then we start working our double trebles. You're going to skip this area here and start working in these cables underneath right here. We're going to pick up this one first. There we go. Now I'm going to need more yarn. Okay, wrap 3 times, come over here and pick up this first cable stitch that's coming underneath these. Wrap 3 times and reach over and pick up the next one over. Tilt it towards you and skip the first 2 stitches, half double crochet in the third. Wrap 3 times, and here's where we're going to do that underneath cabling again. We're going to come behind these 2 that we just made, reach back and scoop up this first cable stitch in this area right here. We are picking up these stitches here, starting with this first one right here. Wrap 3 times, come behind the 2 cables you just made and scoop up that first post and work your double treble around it. Wrap 3 times, come behind these 2 posts again and scoop up the next stitch over and complete your double treble. Now tilt your work towards you, skip the next 2 stitches, work a half double crochet in the third, and we're going to repeat that all over again. Wrap 3 times, and picking up these cable stitches that's coming underneath these 2 here. Pick up the first one, work your double treble. Wrap 3 times, pick up the next one over. Skip the next 2 stitches, half double crochet in the third. Wrap 3 times, come behind these 2 cables and scoop up that first one right there underneath it. I know I'm working kind of sideways. It might help if I do this. Come behind these 2 stitches, these 2 cables. Come back and scoop up with your hook. Scoop up this first one, just yank it up like that. Well, it would have helped if I didn't scoop up another piece of yarn with it. There we go. You're just going to pull that up like that and then work your double treble. There we go. Scoop that next one up. Skip 2 stitches, half double crochet in the third, and now the last 2 stitches, which are these ones, these last 2 cable stitches right here, we're going to work treble crochet only. 1 around the post of each cable stitch. There we go, and then a half double crochet in the very last stitch. That is how your work should be looking. Now we are on row 12, which is just a half double crochet row. I'll meet you when we get to the end of that row. Now, starting with row 13, I'm going to leave you to do the rest. Of course, you will always chain 1, start with a half double crochet. Row 13 is going to be a repeat of row 5, which is your normal over cables. I am going to insert a written pattern right now on the screen that's going to show you the order in which you need to work the rest of these in case you get lost along the way, like I did. It does help if you keep track of what row you are currently on. So here is that insert now. Okay, so just go ahead and finish making the headband. How you're going to end, the row count is going to be entirely up to you. I did 63 rows. They go by really, really fast because they're just short rows, you know, they're just short rows. But what's going to be important is that you end with your open-ended work. What I mean is, don't end with a half double crochet row, because if you end with a half double crochet row, as you can see, we started with a half double crochet row, that's going to leave a seam, a solid seam like this with no cabling. That's going to be a really kind of a big and obvious seam. Our seam is probably going to be somewhat obvious, but we're going to keep it nice and neat and pretty. So if you end your row with open work, no half double, so end on an odd number basically. That's why I ended with 63 rows. What we're going to wind up doing is turning this thing inside out, and we're going to bring the two ends together like this, and we're going to work through the full stitch of both sides, and that should give us, not should, that will give us a seam that looks a little more like this. Do you see what I mean? Like I'm holding it so it's not really showing it very well, but it's going to give us a little bit more of a seam like this instead of a seam like this where you've got, you know, a blank space here of no cabling. It's just half double crochet. So end on an odd row like I did. My last row was a row 5, I believe. No, a row 7, a repeat of row 7 is what I ended with. It doesn't really matter if you end on a repeat of 5 or a repeat row of 7, just as long as it's open-ended. And when you're all done with that, come back and we will start the bobble row. Okie doke. And remember, just go back to that picture, pause on it if you need to, and be sure that you are keeping count of your rows. If you end at row 63, it should measure out, if you use the same yarn, the same hook, it should measure out to about 20.5 inches. That fit me really, really well. It was snug, but not tight. Certainly not loose. So if you need to make this for a man, add more rows, so as long as you end on an odd row, either a repeat of row 5 or a repeat of row 7. I'll see you whenever you're ready to start your bobble row. Okay, now that we have completed our last row, open-ended row of the band, we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to stop using the 4mm and jump way up to this big old 6mm. Turn our work this way. As you can see, we're working along the side now. This is going to be really easy. So we've already chained 1. Go ahead and work right here in this space. Work a single crochet. I don't know why I wrapped first. It's a single crochet. There we go. And we're going to work our first bobble. This is going to be a 5 wrap bobble. So wrap around your hook, go into the same space, and pull up a loop and pull it up kind of high. and do that 4 more times. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4 for a total of 5 times that we wrapped. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 loops on our hook. We're going to pull through the first 10 like that. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through those 2. Now, we do need to skip a stitch, but that's not anything we actually have to pay attention to. Technically, this is a stitch. Technically, this is a stitch. These little chunks here are stitches. We're only going to be working in the spaces, and as they are big and wide and open, we don't even have to try. We're just going to work in the space, in the next space over. So, work a single crochet, pop out your bobble, and immediately work another bobble of 5 wraps. So wrap around once, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through all but 1, leaving 2 on the hook now, and pull through those 2. And without chaining, immediately jump over, work a single crochet, and start working your next 5 wrap bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through all but 1, and then pull through those last 2. Jump over to the next space and do it again. We're going to do this all the way to the end. For me, because I worked 63 rows, I'm going to have a total of 32 bobbles. It doesn't really matter how many bobbles you're going to have, just so as long as you work in all the spaces and that your last space is a bobble. Come back whenever you're done and we will begin working the red. Okay, I have finished placing all of my bobble stitches. How I ended it was just completed the bobble stitch as we have been making them, and then I just cut. Whenever we come back, because the reason I wanted to cut instead of just carry on and turn is because when you do turn, the stitches that you make with the red yarn on the wrong side of the hat are really pretty down here and kind of messy looking on the right side of the hat. So we're just going to start the red portion here on our very, very first single crochet. And when we get down to the end here, even though this is technically our last single crochet, we are going to go ahead and work this little strand right here, and we'll go ahead and add that to it too for a little extra strength. And that will actually be our last stitch. And somewhere random in here, we're going to have to add an extra stitch so that we have a stitch count of 66. That is if you're following my exact measurements. For other sizes, for other sizes, go ahead and add an extra stitch as well, actually. See, I never wrote a pattern for bigger sizes. I'm sorry, I'm a bad crochet YouTuber. I just came up with this, like, day before yesterday. So I pretty much made it to fit an average woman's size head. But if you need to make this for a man and you need to add extra rows, just whatever link double crochet stitch count you end up with, make sure that it includes somewhere at random an extra stitch, which means just working 2 stitches into the same stitch. Now we will be working link double crochet for the body portion of the hat. If you're not familiar with link double crochet, in the description box below and in my pinned comment, I will leave a link for a video tutorial that I have on link double crochet. On that video, go ahead and bypass the beginning of the video where it covers how to make the chain and how to do your first row. We're not concerned with chains and first rows. We're concerned with the portion where it teaches you how to work up to the second row, because essentially that's what we'll be doing. You know, we're going to treat this like our second row. So go ahead and do that if you're not familiar with link double crochet, and you don't have to watch my video. There's a lot of tutorials. Well, there's some tutorials on YouTube that teach link double crochet, but go ahead and learn that stitch and come on back and we'll work this hat. So here we go. Grab your claret color or whichever color you're choosing to go with, and add your color to your very first single crochet. This longer looking stitch here is the top of your puff stitch or your bobble stitch. The one just before it is your first single crochet, and we're going to start with a chain 2. That chain 2 only acts as a builder. It is not considered a stitch. So hopefully this isn't too dark. I feel like it, hang on, I feel like my lens might be blurry. Hang on, I might have to clean my lens real quick. Okay, lens is cleaned. Now I know I'm working with a dark yarn here. It's going to be probably a little difficult to see, but as long as you can learn how to do link double crochet instruction, specific stitch instruction in this part isn't necessary, as I'm not really going to be teaching how to link double crochet. As I said in the beginning, this tutorial assumes you know how to do these stitches. So with our chain 2, our builder chain, we're going to punch through the back of chain 1, the very first chain we made, pull up a loop. Now in that exact same stitch, work your first link double crochet. Got a little doggy here. And then as you learned in the link double crochet stitch, we start every new stitch down here in this middle sidebar. You're going to pull up your loop, go into your next stitch over, and finish your link double crochet. There's that little doggy here. So work a link double crochet stitch in every stitch across. And at random, like right now, I'm going to go ahead and just add my extra stitch right here, right into the exact same stitch I just worked into. Now that should leave me with 66 stitches by the end of this row, and that is our starting stitch count for the body of the hat. So go ahead and work your link double crochet stitch. The first row will be a little bit fidgety, getting these stitches worked in, but the second row and every row after that will be a breeze. It's just trying to work into these bobble stitches. It's with the link double crochet can be a little bit fidgety at first, but you see how nice this looks. This is why I wanted to start on this end. This just looks real nice and clean. And the back stitches, as you can see, when I first worked this up, these back stitches were on the front where you can see, and they were real open like this. All of them were really, really open like that. And it looked kind of ratty. So that's why I opted to go with this route, because I feel like this just looks nice and clean. And let's see here. There you go. See, it just looks nice and clean. Yeah, this is my pattern. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish working our first row of link double crochet. We should end with 66 stitches. Okay, and I'll meet you when we are ready to start row 2. Coming up to my last stitch here, I've got a few stitches to go. I'm going to show you how I'm going to end this row. Work these last couple of link double crochets. There's my last actual single crochet there. And I'm going to work one more stitch, and I'm going to include this, and as I weave this in, you know, this is just going to add strength to this little single strand here. So go ahead and start my link double crochet and include these 2 strands. And there is my last stitch. Oops, let me get into frame here for you. And it's going to be so hard to see. Oops, I'm sorry. There we go. That might help a little bit. Now, the next several rows are going to be super easy. Row 2 through 6 is all just straight link double crochet, no decreases. After that, we will begin some decrease rounds or rows. So you're going to chain 2 and turn. And in the very first chain that you made, punch through the front loop only back of it and pull up a loop. And then work into the very first stitch. We're not skipping any stitches, and finish your link double crochet. And there we go. Just continue making link double crochet in every stitch until a total of 6 rows is complete. Not 6 more rows, but just a total of 6 rows, counting the first row we already made. I will come back whenever we are at that point. Okay, I have now completed my 6 rows. An easy way to count these rows is to just kind of pull them apart a little bit, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to start some decrease rows. So we're going to chain 2 as we have been doing, turn our work, and we're going to go ahead and work our first link double crochet as normal. And the next 2 stitches we're going to work double crochet decrease, but we're going to do it link double crochet style. So what we're going to do is start our link double crochet as normal, go into the next stitch over, pull up, pull through 2 loops, and then like a regular double crochet decrease, we're just going to go into the, wrap around and go into the next stitch over, pull through 2 loops, and then pull through all 3. And there you go. Now we're going to work 9 link double crochet. So how I figure we do this is on the regular double crochet, you will see that we still have a little sidebar here. We're going to go ahead and treat that like it's a link double crochet. Just boom, and there we go. There we go. So that is 1, 2, 3. Finished my 8th stitch. I'm now starting my 9th stitch, and there is my 9th stitch. Now we will work another link double crochet decrease. So we start our link double crochet, we go into the next stitch over, pull through 2, wrap around, go into the next stitch over, pull through 2, pull through all 3, and then working through the little sidebar here of our regular double crochet, we work another 9 link double crochet, and this is the repeat. That one there is just a little tricky. I must have worked it a little tight. There we go. This is the repeat all the way across. We're going to work 9 link double crochet, and then after that on our 10th stitch we're going to work a double crochet decrease on the 10th and 11th stitch. Okay, and then the last, you're going to end with just link double crochet the remaining stitches. It likely won't add up to 9. That's going to be just fine. And then I will meet you. Oh, and then on round 8, it's just going to be a round of link double crochet. So I'll meet you back here when we are at round 9. So this is round 7, our decrease round. Round 8 is going to be just link double crochet all the way around, no decreases. And then round 9, we're going to decrease again, and I'll meet you back whenever you are ready to work round 9. Row 9, sorry, I know we're working rows. Okay, so I have completed row 8, which was, I've completed row 7, which was our decrease round, and I completed row 8, which was just our straight link double crochet, no decrease round. Now we're going to work rows 9 and 10. 9 is going to be our next decrease round, so let's go ahead and chain 2 to start our link double crochet. And we're going to work 5 link double crochet. So 1, 4, and 5. Now we will work 1 decrease. This is not going to be the repeat though. So let's work a decrease. Okay, now we will start the decrease or the repeat, which is going to be 8 link double crochet followed by a decrease stitch. You'll repeat that all the way to the end, and then when you do work your last link double crochet wherever it may wind up landing, just the remaining stitches, work them a link double crochet to the end. Then your row 10 is going to be just straight link double crochet again, no decreases. Okay? So I will meet you when you are done with row 9 and 10 and you are ready for row 11, which will be our next decrease row. Okay, I've just completed row 10. Now we're going to start row 11, our next decrease row. Let me see if I can brighten this up a little bit. Boy, it sure is dark. This dark yarn don't like to cooperate. Try to brighten that up a little bit. All right, so we're going to chain 2. And in row 11, we are going to work 1 link double crochet, our first one. Now we're going to work a decrease. There we go. And there we go. And now we're going to, our repeat is going to be 7 link double crochet followed by a decrease all the way to the end. And when you do get your last, just like before, you get your last link double crochet decrease worked, just work the remaining stitches as link double crochet regardless of the number of stitches that are left. And then row 12 will be a regular link double crochet round like we've been doing. So I'm going to go ahead and work 11 and 12, again 12 being just link double crochet, no decreases, and I'll come back at row 13. Okay, I've just completed row 12. Now let's move on to row 13 and 14. Row 13 is going to be a decrease round, so we will chain 2, turn. Let's see if I can brighten that up a little bit. Okay. And we're going to work 4 link double crochet to start. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the 5th and 6th stitch, we're going to work our link double crochet decrease. There we go. And the repeat is going to be 6 link double crochets with a link double crochet decrease following the 6 link double crochets. So you'll repeat that all the way across, and like we've been doing, just when you get to the end, work your last decrease and then just work however many remaining stitches there are going to be. Then row 14 is going to be just regular link double crochet like we've been doing, and come back whenever we are at row 15 where we will do our next decrease round. Okay, just finished row 14. Now we're going to start row 15, another decrease row. And row 15 is going to start off with 1 link double crochet. Then we're going to immediately work a decrease following. This yarn is dark. It's even hard for me to see. There we go. Now I'm going to work a decrease. Okay, and then the repeat for 15 is going to be 5 link double crochet followed by a decrease, repeated all the way across, ending as we usually do, just work link double crochet and however many stitches are left. And row 16 is going to be another just regular link double crochet, no decreases, and we will meet back up with each other when we are ready to start round 17 or row 17, sorry. Okay, I am done with 15 and 16. Now we're going to start row 17, another decrease row. So we're going to start off 17 with 3 link double crochet stitches. Then we're going to work a decrease. That's 1, 2, and 3. Work my decrease. And now the repeat is going to be 4 link double crochet followed by a decrease all the way across, ending as we have been. And row 18 is going to be, again, as we've been doing, just a row of link double crochet, and I will meet you back here when we are at row 19 and 20. With row 18, now I'm ready to start row 19 and 20. Row 19, we're going to work decreases, chain 2, and we are going to start off with 1 link double crochet. Then we're going to follow that immediately with a decrease. There we go. Now I'll work my decrease. Now we're going to work 3 stitches, 3 link double crochets followed by a decrease all the way across, ending as we have been. And row 20 is going to be just link double crochet, and I'll meet you back here whenever we are ready for row 21. Okay, I'm done with row 20. Now we're going to do row 21 and 22. So row 21 is a decrease row, and we will start off with, row 21. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Row 21 is a decrease row, and we're going to start off with with 1 link double crochet. That's split. Come on, you. There we go. And then we're going to follow that immediately with a decrease. So here is my decrease. That was my first stitch, now my decrease. And we're going to do 2 link double crochet followed by a decrease all the way across, ending as we have been. And row 22 will be a link double crochet solid row. I'll meet you back here whenever we are ready for row number 23. We are almost done. Okay, all done with 21 and 22. Now we are ready for rounds 23 and 24. After that, we will have 2 rounds left. Okay, so round 23 is going to be super simple. We're not working with link double crochet anymore, just double crochet, and that's largely because round 23 is going to be a double crochet decrease in every stitch. So I'm going to chain 2 and just, I'm only going to use my chain 2. You're welcome to start this round any way you typically like to start your double crochet rounds. I'm going to start with a chain 2 just as a builder, and I'm going to work my first decrease right in stitch 1. So There we go. Decreased. And we're going to work a double crochet, a regular normal double crochet decrease in every single stitch around. And row 24 is going to be just a double crochet in every stitch around. Okay, I'll meet you whenever we are done with row 23 and 24, and we're ready for 25 and 26, the last 2 rounds. Okay, now we are ready for our last 2 rounds. I just completed round 24. Now we're ready for rounds 25 and 26. So round 25 is going to be a repeat of 23, where we are going to double crochet decrease in every round, and 26 will simply be a single or 1 double crochet in every round, and that will be it. Then we will be ready to seam everything together, and then we are going to cinch the top shut and add our puff. Spoke too soon. Before we seam everything up, we're going to do our bottom bobble row. So let's just do the last 2 rounds, and then we will begin with the bottom bobble row, and we will seam up to the top from the bottom of the bobble row. Okay, before we move on to the bobble round, the final bobble round down here, I almost forgot to mention the little mini bobble round at the tip. You may have enough stitches at the end of your pattern to do 4. I had enough for 3. I had 7 stitches left. So how you're going to work this is you're going to start with a single crochet. We're basically starting exactly like how we did this one. You're going to start with a single crochet, and in that same stitch, of course, you're going to attach your yarn, your cream colored yarn. You're going to start with a single crochet in the same stitch as the single crochet. You're going to work your 5 wrap bobble. Then in the very next stitch over, so we're not skipping stitches this time, in the very next stitch over, work a single crochet. In the very next stitch over from that, work another single crochet, which is right here, plus a bobble, 5 wrap bobble. In the very next stitch over, work your single crochet. In the very next stitch over, work a single crochet plus a 5 wrap bobble. And if you have 1 or 2 more stitches, then you can get away with at least 1 more bobble. But we want to have the bobbles on here so that we have just a little bit extra fanciness at the top. Now also, with your top, you can make, oh Lord, please don't judge mine. I have always been bad at making pom-poms. But you can always make a pom-pom or use a furry pom-pom, and I'll show you how both look. So I'm just going to raise you up here so you have a little more, you can see a little bit better. So here is the furry pom-pom. Just going to fold that over like that. Oops. Of course, it helps if it's stitched in there or affixed in there. So I'm going to do my best for you here. So there you go, there's that. And then there is the handmade to give it that more classic look. I love both equally, modern and classic, love it equally. There we go. And that is how it will look with the bobbles. And so there is that. Let's see if I can. So if you want to pause and take a few minutes to do that, we will then, when you come back, we will begin the bottom bobbles, and then we will seam everything shut. Okay? Okay, so this side here is going to be just a little bit different. The half double crochets on this side, well, they didn't work up quite exactly the same way as they did on this side, making it super easy for us to access those spaces to work our bobbles. Here we're going to have to try a little harder to access those spaces, but in the end we want 32 or whatever number you wound up with, you want to mirror that. So I'm going to start down here, basically on the other side. Here is our starting row, our starting half double crochet row where we started the pattern off from the very beginning. So just on this side right here of our very first half double crochet is where I'm going to start. kind of low. There we go. And I'm just going to work a single crochet, chain one there, and then work a single crochet. Now we're going to have to figure out what is a stitch that we're going to skip. Well, when I went through this the first time, I decided that this whole chunk is a stitch I'm going to skip. Now here you will see something like that. I have decided to work right where my nail is coming out of. That's where I'm going to work out of. I'm going to work out of that space. I'm going to skip this whole section, and see there we have that space again where there's like a little bar in the middle, and right where my nail is coming out of, that's where I've decided that my stitches are going to be. And when I counted it up, it was perfectly 32. So where I worked my first single crochet, we're going to start our 5 wrap bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through 10, then pull through those last 2, and we're going to skip this whole section right here where you see like it looks like a stitch and then it looks like a little bar next to it. We're going to skip all of that and jump right over with a single crochet in that space right there. You see, you're going to see 2 holes with a little line in the middle, this side of the hole, and work our 5 wrap bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through 10, then pull through those last 2. Skipping this whole section, I'm going to work in this space here. Make a single crochet and a 5 wrap bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through 10 and then pull through 2. Push my little bobbles forward. That's how it's looking so far. Skipping all of this here and then into this space where you see the 2 holes and a little line in the middle, and working through the first hole. Work my single and then my bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull through 10, pull through 2, skipping over all of this again, and I'm going to work in this large space. So keep doing that all the way to the end. Come back when you're done and we will go ahead and start seaming the hat closed. I'm going to jump on here and show you where I'm going to place my last stitch. It might be helpful for you. This area right here, just that gap right there, where I'm going to place my last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, there we go. Now we are going to, one more step, we're going to clean up this bottom row here. As you can see, it's spaced apart, and if you hold out your hat, you're going to see, as mine is doing, it is kind of curving out this way, so it almost looks like it's going out like this. Well, we're going to try to bring that in just a little bit and clean this line up. We're going to do that very simply with a slip stitch, but we're going to start it like this. That way we're not starting in the top of this bobble stitch but off to the side of it. Right here, this little strand that we use to close up our bobble stitch, let's just slip stitch over into that. And there you go. Chain 1, now turn. And in that same strand area, go ahead and work your first slip stitch. I wouldn't say work them loose, but I wouldn't say work them so tight that it leaves an irritating like feel on your forehead. Just moderately taut. Okay, and just work a slip stitch in every single available stitch. So that's going to be the top stitches of the bobbles. and the single crochets that are between. Just go ahead and do that all the way across. I keep wanting to work a double crochet. The reason I'm not doing this in double crochet is because I feel like this brim is quite oversized enough without adding another 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch in height. So I figured a slip stitch would be a lot more reasonable and still give us the end result we're looking for, which is to close up this edge a little bit. Let's see how that looks. There you go. I think that looks very nice. And the comparative difference, it's closing it up, and here we've got gaps. Of course, this last part is optional. I would highly recommend it though. It just looks nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and finish working my slip stitches to the end, where we will begin seaming it up. We are seemingly done. Here is the brim all done with that final, slip stitch round. Here is how our hat is beginning to look. Very, very pretty. I love it. I love the Father Christmas colors. I honestly, I can't even recall ever hearing that phrase until my brother said it one day, and I was like, I absolutely love that phrase. That just feels so vintage and classic, which is also very him, very modern, vintage, modern classic. So I think it's a beautiful aesthetic. It looks lovely. Let's go ahead and get her seamed up. We're going to turn it inside out, or wrong side out for that. And of course my dog hair has to join the party on everything. So we're not going to be doing this with a crochet hook. I just feel like we're going to get a much cleaner seam if we sew it. You're of course welcome to sew it any way you wish. I would highly recommend sewing it though. So I'm going to leave myself, I don't need a lot of the Aran color, because I'm only going to be seaming up to here, and then I'm going to add the Claret to seam up the rest. So I will leave myself, it looks like about 1 foot. Where's my scissors? Well, I'll use my nippers. About 1 foot should do it, hopefully, fingers crossed. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and finish seaming this off camera, as this could be gruelingly dull to watch. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a new stitch here and work in the old stitch here I just worked into. It seems like it really wants to do that. So, like that, what I just did, play around with it like that. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Nobody is going to notice. As long as it's lined up, that is literally all that matters. Before I jump off of here, I want to flip it around and see how our seam is turning out. Let me just do a couple more of these so that I've got a good measure of amount of stitches to gauge this by, or to judge this by, I should say. Because I may want to go back and work these stitches a little lower. You never know. I don't really want a big, fat, wide, blank space. I kind of want the cables to fluidly flow. Yeah, that does look a little wide. What do you guys think? I think it looks okay, actually. I do. I think it looks okay. Let me raise you up. I think it looks okay. I think it looks pretty good. I don't think I need to go back and change anything. The bobbles didn't quite line up as perfectly as I was hoping, but we're not dealing with simple stitches here. We're dealing with some pretty funky little stitches. So yeah, I think that looks actually really good. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'll be back whenever I'm ready to switch to the Claret color. Let's flip this back around. Okay guys, be back in a minute. I just finished whipping my last stitch in. So now what I'm going to do is come back over the last stitch I just work into it one more time, but I'm also going to weave in my ends as I go. So my bobble stitch here, I'm just going to push through that and then come back up and go back down one more time and cut. All right, now working along the side of the hat is just going to be at your own discretion for the most part. Just try to keep it uniform and clean and neat, because there is no defined stitches. There's no, I mean, they're kind of easy to see. They're kind of easy to see, but just try to keep it nice and neat and straight. You're all experienced crocheters, I believe. Experienced enough, whether you've been doing it for a few months or 30 years. I think you all know, probably have your own best techniques for seaming, and I've seen people do some kind of mattress stitch, something like that. Oh my God, that is beyond my skills. So yeah, just go ahead and seam this up to the top here. And if you waited till the last to do your bobbles, that's fine. If you didn't, like I did, just seam up as best you can to the bobbles. And then we will flip the whole hat inside out, and those bobbles will face out the right direction. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and seam this, and I will come back whenever we're done. Okay, I have finished working my seam with the Claret. Here is how everything is looking. This is the wrong side out. Let's go ahead and flip it around. Go, and note to self, when I make this hat again, I'm going to make the bobbles on the top last. So here is my seam. There we go. It's nice and clean. I do like the way this one turned out. I think it looks nice and clean too. It's a little bit more of a blank space than I was hoping for, but I don't know that there's any way to avoid it. If you guys can figure a way to avoid it, please let us know in the comments so we can all benefit from that. But there is how it looks. Hey, there we are with the fur palm, and not gonna lie, I kind of love it. I kind of love it. I love the little bobble stitches that are affixed to it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you're going to make it, and if you're going to go with the fur palm or with the classic palm. There, that gives you a pretty good idea what it looks like with the classic palm. And I think it's also just as cute, but I'll be honest with you, I feel like this modernizes it a little bit. Very, very cute. Love that with the little bobbles. So there you go.